The sound of cold steel colliding with human flesh echoed through the arena like a gunshot, a sickening thud that silenced 20,000 screaming fans for one heartbeat before the chaos erupted into a fever pitch. There was no bell, there was no sportsmanship, there was only the primal, unhinged animal known as Jacob Fatu, a man who doesn't just wrestle, he hunts. Before the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes could even take off his weight belt, the world turned upside down. Imagine the scene, security guards being tossed like rag dolls, a recycling bin soaring through the air and smashing into a man's face, and the literal foundation of WWE Saturday Night's main event, shaking under the weight of a hatred so deep it felt like the ring itself might collapse. This wasn't a match. This was a public execution that turned into a riot, and by the time the dust settled, a champion stood tall over the wreckage, leaving us all wondering if anyone is truly safe in this new era of violence. Before we dive into the blood, the sweat, and the tears of this legendary night, I want to take a second to speak to you, the SLAMZONE family. We do this every week because of the passion we all share for this incredible business. Wrestling isn't just a hobby. For many of us, it's a lifeline. It's the stories of underdogs who never gave up and the villains we love to hate. If you've ever felt like the world was against you and you found strength in a superstar's journey, then you belong here with us. Please, if you appreciate the work we put into these breakdowns, hit that subscribe button, share this video with a friend who needs it, and join our community. Your support means the world to us, and it's the reason we can keep the lights on and the cameras rolling. Let's get into the heart of the storm. The air in the building was thick, charged with an electricity you could practically taste. Cody Rhodes walked out with the confidence of a king, but Jacob Fatu. The brawl didn't just stay in the ring, it was a sprawling cinematic war that spilled into the audience, over the barricades, and into the very guts of the arena. You could see the desperation in the eyes of the security teams, dozens of them, frantically trying to separate these two titans, only to be demolished. Cody, pushed to a dark place we rarely see from the Golden Boy, wasn't just fighting back, he was spitting in Fatu's face, a gesture of pure unadulterated defiance that sent the crowd into a frenzy. Every time you thought the officials had regained control, the fire would catch again. A recycling bin, a heavy industrial piece of plastic and metal, became a weapon of mass destruction as Cody hurled it with pinpoint accuracy. The impact was visceral, but Fatu is a monster that feeds on pain. He sent a security guard flying through a table in the lobby, a sickening crash of splintering wood that felt like a final exclamation point. This was high-stakes storytelling at its most brutal. Just when it seemed like the two would tear each other apart until there was nothing left, the shadow of a giant loomed over the carnage. Drew McIntyre, the Scottish warrior, the man who holds the gold and the destiny of the main event scene in his hands, emerged from the shadows. The crowd's reaction was a mix of awe and terror. McIntyre didn't come out to save anyone. He came out to remind the world that he is the apex predator. With a cold, calculating fury, he leveled the playing field. Fatu went through a table, a moment of pure shock that silenced his momentum. Then Cody, already battered and bruised, found himself in the crosshairs. A devastating powerbomb followed, and while there's debate among the fans if Cody fully hit the table or just grazed the edge of disaster, the message was sent. Drew McIntyre stood over their broken bodies, his voice booming through the microphone, declaring that this was a warning to anyone who dares to look at his championship. If you want the title, you have to go through the graveyard he just created. But the night was far from over. From the ashes of that opening brawl, we moved into a world of technical brilliance and high-flying stakes. The women's division took center, stage in a tag team encounter that was as beautiful as it was chaotic. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, two of the most dominant forces in the history of the Squared Circle, defended their titles against Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. This wasn't just a match, it was a masterclass in tension. The officiating, however, was a different story altogether. We saw moments where the integrity of the sport was pushed to the limit. Shady counts, missed calls. At one point, Liv's shoulder was clearly off the mat, yet the referee's hand continued to descend. The commentary team, led by a frustrated Wade Barrett, couldn't stay silent. How can you have a fair fight when the man in stripes seems to be looking at a different reality? The turning point came when the chaos outside the ring mirrored the chaos inside. Raquel Rodriguez interfered, a physical force that shifted the momentum and led to a collision that took out the referee himself. But then, the moment that made the internet explode, the return of Stephanie Vauquer. The boot was off, the injuries were a thing of the past, and she looked like a woman on a mission of vengeance. She went straight for Raquel, and the two of them brawled into the audience, disappearing into a sea of fans who were getting more than their money's worth. If you ever doubted the passion of this roster, look no further than that moment. Now, take a breath, because we are only halfway through the madness. Before we talk about the incredible respect-driven war between AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura and the emotional triumph of Sami Zayn, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to SLAMZONE, and join the family for more intense wrestling breakdowns every week. We are building something special here, and we want you to be a part of every single chapter. As we moved into the latter half of the show, the atmosphere shifted from chaotic violence to a somber, respectful intensity. AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, two names that are synonymous with greatness. This match didn't have weeks of trash talking or backstage sneak attacks. It didn't need it. When AJ Styles walked out wearing that iconic mask, a callback to their legendary encounters in New Japan, everyone in the building knew they were witnessing history. But there was a shadow hanging over AJ. You could see it in his eyes. It was the look of a man who knows the sunset is coming. The rumors of his retirement have been swirling like a hurricane, and every move he made felt like it carried the weight of a 20-year career. They fought like two men who knew each other's souls. It was a chess match played with limbs and lightning-fast strikes. When AJ finally secured the win, it wasn't a moment of gloating, it was a moment of reflection. Was this the last time we'd see the phenomenal one stand victorious on a stage this big? If it was, he went out proving he is still one of the best to ever lace up a pair of boots. The respect between him and Nakamura was palpable, a silent acknowledgement that they had once again pushed the boundaries of what is possible in a wrestling ring. But then we reached the heart of the night, Montreal, a city that breathes wrestling, and a man who embodies the spirit of that city, Sami Zayn. The main event was a fatal four-way with the highest stakes imaginable, a shot at Drew McIntyre's World Championship at the Royal Rumble. The entrance alone was enough to give you goosebumps. A hero's welcome doesn't even begin to describe it. The crowd sang his theme song with a fervor that shook the rafters. The match was a whirlwind. 4 men, 1 dream. Sami was the underdog, the man who has spent his career being told he's not quite enough. But tonight, in his home, he was everything. When the final 3 count hit the mat and the referee raised Sami's hand, the explosion of joy in that arena was something you only see once in a generation. Sami Zayn is going to the Royal Rumble. He is going to face the man who, earlier that night, had decimated Cody Rhodes and Fatu. The drama didn't end with the bell. Drew McIntyre, ever the Predator, tried to ruin the celebration. He moved into attack, to stifle the hope that Sami had just ignited. But Sami, fueled by the energy of his people, stood his ground. He sent the champion over the top rope, a symbolic gesture of what's to come at the Rumble. The image of Sami Zayn standing tall, the crowd chanting his name, and the Scottish warrior retreating in fury was the perfect ending to a night that exceeded every possible expectation. As we look toward the Royal Rumble, the landscape of WWE has been fundamentally altered. We have Roman Reigns declaring his entry, rumors of LA Knight's return manifesting in giant signs at the stadium, and a world title match that is now personal on a level we haven't seen in years. Can Sami Zayn do the impossible? Can he beat the monster that Drew McIntyre has become? And what about the fallout from the Cody and Fatu war? This was a 9 out of 10 night, a showcase of why we love this business. It was brutal, it was emotional, and it was legendary. Thank you for riding this emotional roller coaster with us. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to SLAMZONE, and join the family for more intense wrestling breakdowns every week. Tell us in the comments, do you think Sami Zayn has a chance at the Rumble? We'll be back Monday for the Raw breakdown. Peace.